Why did Donna Adelson have Dan Markel's license plate number in her daily planner, and how did it get there? Did someone help her with that? Why was she boarding a one-way flight to Vietnam via Dubai? And why now are jailhouse snitches saying that Donna Adelson confessed to this crime behind bars and even wrote a handwritten script that was corroborated by handwriting analyst? A lot of questions after a couple weeks of Donna Adelson versus the state of Florida.
Welcome to the global phenomenon, Surviving the Survivor. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning journalist, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. This is the show that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime. And we're heading into week 3 of Donna Sue Adelson versus the state of Florida. It is a Labor Day holiday weekend, so I hope everybody is enjoying their long weekend. Kind of a lazy day here up in Tallahassee as we are awaiting court to reconvene tomorrow morning. So who else could help answer some of these questions but the matriarch of the show? We've got 2 important women now revolving around STS. You've got the patron saint of Surviving the Survivor, of course, the Professor Joe Patuto, who hates when I call her the workhorse. So she is now forever known as the patron saint of STS. And then, of course, none other than my beloved mother. Just as I adjust the light real quick, there we go. She is the matriarch. She seems unimpressed backstage. Carm, rather be the patron saint or the matriarch of Surviving the Survivor? Which do you prefer? Or the queen?
I don't think I have much choice, since I begot you two and you begot those kids and those kids begot other kids. So I'm the matriarch.
You are the matriarch, but we could call you Queen Carm.
No.
So everybody, this is going to be a low-key show. This is not a typical Monday to Friday show, even though technically it is Monday. There was some, I'm not going to mention them by name, but I got to tell you, I don't know what Donna Sue Adelson was thinking just in regards to Tallahassee, because we've been invited from one house to the next house, to one dinner to the next dinner, literally the kindest people you have ever met. And that is happening tonight. Someone we do not know invited Tim Jansen, myself, and a couple of other people to a dinner in Tallahassee tonight. We don't know them. They just know us through the show. But that's the kind of hospitality. It is really down home. Tim Jansen always says the more north you go in Florida, the more southern it gets. And this is true southern hospitality. So after this, Carm can't come because she's back at the ranch in Miami, where she tells me it is raining. The COE and the kids have left to go back down south, and I am left here to fend for myself. Court reconvenes tomorrow morning. Carm, before we start, and so by the way, let's just take a million questions from everybody as we go through some of the highlights of the week. But Carm, you know, this is week 3, and I know that you've been following this very closely, not because of me, but because you're actually interested in this case. And I don't know, what are your general thoughts up to this point, Carm?
I tell you something funny. I know that in this country, and God bless this country on Labor Day, but I know that you are innocent until proven guilty. But I think you have to be really, like you say, under a rock, not to realize that Donna is guilty and we are wasting another week, getting there.
That's Carm calls me every day. She says, make sure you say innocent until proven guilty, because that is true. Carm, what about this right out of the gates from Lisa Cox? And we're just going to have keep in mind, these are all, listen, I've talked to the Markels a lot over the last week and seen them a lot. And this is brutal for them. This is rough. So even though we kind of are having fun with this in the sense that we're all together on Labor Day, for them, there's really no break, no relief. And it's a constant agony that there's going to be one juror. Now, I've been watching the jurors, and I can tell you firsthand, I am pretty convinced that, by the way, if you want to really just decompress and relax after 2 weeks of trial, the best way to do it is probably not have your 3 children come up with your wife and stay in your hotel room on top of you. The wife is good, is fine. Kids, I might have done that. I might have done that a different way, but I still love my kids. There's no denying that, and they are Carm's grandchildren. But Carm, I forgot my train of thought, but luckily Lisa Cox has reminded me here. Carm was right about Harvey. Let me just say something about Harvey. One thing Carm was not right about with Harvey. Well, she said he's complicit, but she said he's kind of like this meek, I don't know, quiet, soft. I have looked deep into that man's eyes, and he is a scary person. He's a frightening person. I just posted something, by the way, on Instagram at Surviving the Survivor and Twitter or X at Podcast STS. It's a photo side by side or up and down of Charlie's mugshot and Harvey in court. And when you look at those two photos, it will put chills down your spine. That's all I have to say. So go to Instagram at Surviving the Survivor, Twitter at Podcast STS if you want to see that photo. Carm, that's the only thing you got wrong. I don't think he's this benign character. I think that he is a scary individual. Obviously, he's not connected to the crimes, but he is like he's like the mob Don, Carm.
You know how I feel. I just cannot bring myself to say you are absolutely right. I have to tell you, I never said that he wasn't. If you studied his face, one of the simplest things that you had to observe is that the two corners of his mouth, I never saw a person where the lines went, not the wrinkles next to the mouth, but the mouth itself on the two sides was going down. And even if he was passive and tried to avoid his wife's carryings on, and he wanted to be out of the picture before, now he's so drawn in, and that's why he's so angry that, you know, at 81 he has to deal with this stuff. And I tell you, crazy as it sounds, I think he loves his wife.
I do. And they kind of whisper sweet nothings to each other after court every day. I don't know if there's some, you know, they're known to speak in code periodically, so I don't know if there's something more to it. But they look at each other. But I'll tell you, we got, Carm, you and I have to be careful of defamation. It's a good thing I know 7,000 criminal defense attorneys now, but put it this way.
We didn't say anything else. I mean, I just said that the features of his face are
no, Carm, we're safe. Now Carm's going to worry. We're safe. I'm saying this. That guy.
I am not worried about it because I didn't say 99% of what I wanted to say.
If
you would have heard what I thought. But imagine
if I was a betting man, 99.979397%, that guy is in on it, knew what was going on the entire time. Is there proof? Probably not at this point, unless there's something we don't know. But I'll tell you this.
But somebody who is an attorney pointed out to me, the question is, when did he know?
Carm, look at this. They love the lip color on your lipstick. Soon you can. I
can promote lip color. Actually, I changed it. Believe it or not, I changed it.
Carm, you should get an Instagram page and be a lipstick influencer. It'd be amazing. Carm brings the wisdom that
sales would go down if I were the lipstick influencer.
So Carm, let me try to organize this a little bit. So there were these jailhouse informants that testified, and I know you saw it. Patricia Bird, she was the first one to provide testimony. I believe it was Friday morning. She said she talked to Donna for months in jail, talking, and I quote, every day. When asked if she directly questioned Donna about the murder for hire, she said, "Yes, I did." She said she did. It was to keep her grandkids, but it wasn't supposed to go that far. What do you make of that? And then I have a follow-up question. By the way, Carm is a licensed social worker. She used to literally work with crack addicted.
When you say licensed social worker, from now on say she has a master's in social work, because license you can
Oh,
just.
how dare I? Carm has a master's in
I am a
social work.
snob about that I went for a master's
But
degree.
I saw Carm. Carm is the kind of woman who helped everybody. I'll say that. Donna Adelson, the thing that stuck out, not struck out, but Carm, the thing that stuck out to me about these two women, is there a chance in hell you would be friends with these women on the outside? Donna Adelson would never have even given these women if they were asking for a nickel, she wouldn't have given it to them, let alone speak to them. What do you make of that dichotomy, that juxtaposition of these two women spending all this time with Donna when it was clear that Donna was trying to influence them or manipulate them, is a better word?
Well, the jail, I guess, is a great equalizer. People, everybody wears the same uniform. Everybody is in the same boat. And the human interaction is like a very important thing in life. And so people talk to the people who are near them. And I don't think that Donna was doing this for friendship. I think she was doing it with an ulterior motive. I don't give her any slack. I'm sorry.
And Carm, so one of the obvious huge takeaways, the reason that they brought these two women in, is that Donna gave them a script to read. And by the way, these women they're kind of career criminals, so there's a credibility issue potentially. However, I thought that they were pretty credible on the stand. But she gave them a script, and there was a handwriting analyst who came on and said, not only do they usually an analyst will say a hired gun, if you will say that it's 90% chance that this is Donna Adelson's handwriting, but this analyst said that is Donna Adelson's handwriting. How damning do you think that is? And is it possible?
By the way, I would.
Is it possible for Donna to plead out? I mean, anything is possible. Very unlikely. But go ahead, Carl.
I warn you not to say a hired gun, especially when you report on crime. You said that the handwriting. And
my apologies. My apologies. That's
she was an expert, and she was pretty certain. And now this coming week, I'm sure that if they did their due diligence, they will bring in. The defense will bring in an expert who will say it was absolutely not her handwriting.
This is true. That's going to happen. I'm trying to, by the way, get, the defense hasn't really shown its hand, and the state rested on Friday. So tomorrow's a big day. There's a very good chance.
I challenge you on that one. I think the defense showed its hand in small, little, everyday ways that they dealt with the situation. What they will show in the grand finale is another question.
Well, I just simply meant, Carm, that if anything's going to test me on to me, it's a Sunday night, even though it's a Monday, is having Carm on, and I've got to uphold the public persona. Carm's reading the questions, the comments. Joel, are you confident about the jury? Are they that expressive? You're making me nervous. The jury is expressive in the sense that they seem very tuned in. During Charlie's trial, there was one guy in particular who was making really weird faces at Georgia and Sarah Catherine. So everyone thought he was like in the Charlie camp. He ended up being an alternate. And he even went at one point to the judge to complain about the gallery, I think. This set of jurors, I just don't see a single person who would lean in favor of any kind of acquittal or favoring Donna. They look, for lack of a better word, disgusted at what they've heard, and they all appear that way. There are two women in the back row who are occasionally, and I've said this a bunch of times already, occasionally less interested than the others, but I don't think it's because of anything related to what they're hearing. It's not related to the testimony. It's just that people are caught up in their own lives. And I think that these two jurors in particular just seem to be a little more preoccupied with other stuff. with that said, I mean, Carm, you know human nature. It's very hard to predict, right? I mean, it's
exactly very hard. I think one of the biases that you and I and most of the people who watch this trial, one of the problems is that most of the people already have wealth of information. They know a lot about from the previous trials and the saga of 9 years. They know enough already. They know too much almost. And this jury, I am worried because they are hearing it the first time. You know, when you hear this the first time, I hope that you put together the same conclusion that you put together after you thoroughly listen to. I didn't miss. I think I missed 1 or 2 times
yeah.
during the
You know,
week.
Carm, I must have missed. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just did. But I'm in and out of the courtroom, and the audio is terrible. So there's a very good chance I missed this because everyone's telling me that the defense already has admitted, Carm, to the fact that that is Donna's handwriting. So, Carm, let me ask you. Now that they're saying it is Donna's handwriting, because I guess they have no choice. And by the way, the expert who's coming is not the one expert we know who's coming is going to be someone with the cell towers pinging, a digital forensics expert. And then we assume Donna. And then something I tweeted out late last night, this is coming from someone close to people with Charlie, saying that Charlie will likely testify because a lot of people thought he might not, but apparently he wants to see his mother one last time. And so he might. These are all, we just don't know is the bottom line. But Carm, a lot of people are telling me that the defense, and I must have missed that with everything going on, but if the defense is admitting that it is Donna Adelson's handwriting on that script about what to say, that's a pretty big admission. But if you're Jackie Fulford, which thank God you're not, what are they going to say to get there to
it's like
way out of it?
If they admit the handwriting, then the handwriting is even more on the wall.
Carm, look at this. Stephen Tokar, watching from Budapest. Hello to your dear mother and a fellow friend from Subotica.
Oh my God! Waiting for Buddha. What?
Do you know a Stephen Tokar?
Dear mother. No, I would have to remember.
Can you give them, just so people believe me, can you give a shout out in Hungarian? Say something in Hungarian to this person, please.
Minden jót, majd próbálunk, írjon nekünk, és majd akkor megbeszéljük, hogy honnét ismerjük egymást.
And look at this. That was I have no idea. I've been listening to that language my whole life. I'm 56. It's literally like gibberish to me. That was Hungarian, by the way. Serbian is harder. And I have no idea. My dad had no clue. My sister has no clue, which is kind of like a foreign alien language. Alice Ryder Field is
my husband, Roy, he was saying, if I go senile and I regress back to my mother tongue and I start to speak in Hungarian, what will happen because he doesn't speak Hungarian? So he had this worry. I'm not joking, half jokingly, tongue in cheek, half seriously. It's like I suddenly go completely senile and start to speak only in Hungarian. How will you understand it?
Alice Ryder Feld is an attorney in Miami. Defense conceded the handwriting dictated, remember, so no expert is coming. Thank you. I must have just complied. Maybe it's just because I'm exhausted on the
I missed that part. You know why I missed it? I take with a grain of salt the two inmates whom she befriended. They said that she killed him, but I kind of immediately pushed away the thought because I don't know if these inmates said the truth or they said what the prosecutors wanted them to say or what they wanted heard so that they could get whatever they were looking for. I missed the fact that they accepted it. I did not, even though I watched that part, I missed it.
Yeah, Carmen, let me ask you a question before I get back to the informants real quick. So it was revealed that in a 2014 planner, and this murder obviously happened in 2014, that Donna Adelson, Carm giving a thumbs up to how are
No,
you?
because she's how are you, Carl?
Yeah. But Carm, in Donna's planner, which is kept obsessively, um, investigators found that she had Dan Markel's license plate number from his Honda Accord. This is in the time period where the murder happened. How do you think Donna got that license plate number? Because in
Wait
my
a
opinion,
second. First, I know where you're going to, Wendy. But first of all, it wasn't on a particular date. This was in the back of, I guess, that year's
correct.
date
It
book,
was in the
right?
back.
It
Correct.
was in the
Correct.
back of that. And it, of course, to us lay people, it's suspicious. But what other excuses could there be? Did she need to help him register his car? I mean, who knows?
That's a good.
What's so
good
funny?
that
What?
was because you're trying to be diplomatic. I don't think it
No,
was
no,
to
no,
help.
no, no, no. I am trying to figure out what other motive could have been.
Well, let me
There
ask you
what
how.
other motive? Eliminate all the other possibilities, and you end up with the one that you think. But what are the other possibilities?
I mean, the possibility is that Wendy Adelson, the only other person who had that information handy, gave it to her mother, which is one more brick in the wall, just another
So that
brick in
she
the
so
wall.
continue. If you do that chain, then continue in order so she could give it to Garcia and Rivera.
And Carm, just back to so again, these jailhouse informants said that Donna said that it was her and it just went too far. Do you buy that? I mean, to me, that should have been Dan Rashbaum's defense of Charlie Adelson, that he's a wannabe tough guy. He hires some hitmen. It's not hitmen, but guys to rough up Dan Markel. They go up there and they end up killing them. I could have seen Charlie getting off on that kind of a defense. Why they didn't go with that, I don't know. But do you buy the fact that Donna is telling them it went a step too far to murder? Do you believe that, or do you think she was always intent on the murder? And I'd be careful how you answer because you might get hate mail.
Well, I am not afraid of hate mail. I told you that because by the time they get to me, I'll be naturally dead. But the what happened with the Charlie situation and his defense, I thought he's going to appeal it, and now Donna is confronting him by saying another version of the story instead of sticking in the jail. She told another completely the opposite story, that he that she didn't want him dead, but she wanted him only hurt. And so she admits that it's her and he and Charlie who murdered him instead of the version that Rashbaum was pushing, was that they killed Rivera and killed Dan, and then they came for a ransom.
Yeah, and that's how they
So
got
now
extorted.
this makes things so messy. The whole thing is getting very messy.
I think it is.
Maybe this week it will all be clarified when we
Let's
hear
hope.
what the story is. And everybody is thinking that Wendy knew about it. I don't know what Georgia is thinking, because that's the most important thing. All of us think she's guilty, but will Georgia go for it?
And Carm, what do you think of the fact Georgia's own beautiful mother came up to me and said she watches the show, her mother, so maybe she'll get a message to Georgia. What do you like to say to Georgia's mother? She raised a good daughter, don't you think?
I think she's very proud of her daughter. Her daughter is now really she's star quality. If they ever make a movie, she should play herself.
There you go. Leslie B, is Wendy married George? I don't know, but this is her boyfriend. Why did Jackie ask her if Adelston still her last name and is George? I don't know. And someone, by the way, pointed out that on the docket there was a request for Wendy Adelson's transcript. So, I mean, Carm, what do you think? Is Donna's back so far up against the wall that she could maybe, assuming she provides testimony, Donna does, you think there's any chance she throws her daughter under the bus at this point, or no? Would you throw me under the bus?
If you behaved like she did, no, really.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
Her throwing her under the bus?
Even though Donna's facial expressions at time were hard to read, strange, at times they were very clear, at times she was very upset, at times she was, I don't know if a lot of anger showed on her face. Do you think a lot of anger showed?
On Donna?
Yeah.
I think at moments, yeah. At moments, when she didn't have her headset inverted, yeah, there were some angry moments. But Carm, what about the fact that these sort of career criminal women got up there and said that they were offered veneers and real estate and money? I mean, aren't these flat out?
She's still throwing her money around as a means to power. For example, when she offered $1 million, to me, it's the most unbelievable thing, because anybody who has the slightest idea of what Dan Markel was about would never offer him $1 million, because Dan Markel knew if he would go into a law firm in Miami, he would make $1 million in a year. And he chose an academic career because that was his passion, learning and creating and writing. And his passion wasn't to make $1 million.
No, he took a huge
So
pay cut.
the fact that she offered the $1 million that she throws her money around. She'll buy a trailer, she'll buy a piano, she will, and then very generously she buys a few candies from the canteen.
Yeah.
Not nice.
Not nice at all. From Tracy here. Carm, do you think Harvey? So one of the things that Harvey's doing, he's left-handed, like your son, by the way, but Harvey's taking these very copious notes. And I'm not going to deny that I haven't walked past him and tried to make it out, but it's, doctors notoriously have chicken scratch for handwriting. If you had to guess, what do you think he's note-taking so vigorously about? Carm. You can't read comments and answer questions. So you just.
I am not reading the comments. I'm thinking deeply.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm thinking about. He's a medical person. Okay, he's a quote scientific mind. He has to organize what seems to be scattered, and he has to come up with some objections. I don't think he's stupid. I think he's probably bright. I mean, the children were not stupid.
Yeah. I mean, that's for sure. What's this? The family dynamics are quite something. Joel clearly respects his mom's opinion, but he constantly talks over her. I didn't read that till I read it.
What?
Someone just says I talk over you constantly. It's just my effort to move the show along. But Carm, to you, Josh Selman had a mini victory on his cross here, maybe the only one that I've actually noted, but he got Patricia Bird on his cross of her to sort of admit that the only real role that Donna played was to write the checks to Katie Magbanua. Do you think that's enough? I guess if there's a question that people have in this trial so far, is there enough to connect, literally connect Donna to this conspiracy, and the jury instructions are complicated on this, and they haven't gotten the jury instructions, but is there enough to actually connect her? There's circumstantial evidence, but what are your thoughts on the connection between the conspiracy and Donna?
Well, this is not the only thing that can connect the two, that she wrote the checks, how she reacted to the bomb, one thing, how much all the phone calls that were going back and forth that were charted between, I couldn't even follow. They were so busy and so many phone calls, but it was definitely her to Charlie to Banua, and back and forth and like crazy. The phone calls were like crazy.
And here we go. Jimmy McNutty, friend of mine, friend of the show. He's in the courtroom. He came out from Los Angeles. Circumstantial evidence is most of the time better than an eyewitness. And
yeah, we learned that. We are going to be lawyers soon if we continue like this.
And Carm, with regards to
Jimmy on your show one lunchtime, right?
Yeah, Jimmy was my co-host on the Lunch Live. That is 100% correct. You're watching, Carm. That's good. Someone, by the way, asked me, why do I call you Carm if you're my mother? And it's really because it would be weird if I just referred to you as mom, which I do call her in real life, because then everyone else would be thinking it's, I don't know, their mom. So I just call you Carm, I guess. I don't know. George, by the way, is Wendy's boyfriend. We don't know, or at least I don't know the specifics of the relationship. Got Donuts, one of the funniest. Carmen, you don't remember probably, but you met Got Donuts in Toronto, and she's like,
she's a real old timer. I didn't say she's old. I said she's old timer.
She kind of reminds me of the COE. She comes like a tornado into a room, in and out. She's always going somewhere too. She's I'm gonna mail Donna a postcard from Vietnam when I go on vacation. Here's another interesting thing. The Jailhouse informant said that Donna promised them or told them that Harvey Adelson, her husband, would Zelle them money. Now, you know what Zelle is, right, Carmen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have Zelle, but I know what it is. It's a payment system.
Yeah. So what about that? I mean, he seems to be one of the money guys. So that just circles back. Do you think that there's enough evidence?
Well, wait a second. She's saying this when she's in jail and he's out. So that he can do what she cannot do. Are you listening?
Yeah, but it's still illegal to Zelle money for bribery, correct?
Yeah, I mean, to pay in any form for bribery.
I mean, just because.
Can I just say something to you? Yeah. We went very fast. The two jail informers. We went very fast over the two persons, and both of them they both made me very sad. They were sad stories, both of them, their stories.
Yeah. And, by the way, Mary Benny, sorry. I see that you sent a super chat. The COE's driving, and I don't know how to pull them up. I see 1776 daughter. I don't know if there's a way to I don't want you to read. Just put your comment in. I'll see if I can find it. But 1776 daughter, Carm, do you think the unpreparedness and hokey delivery of the defense attorneys discredits them in the perception of the jury? What do you think of the performance by Jackie Fulford so far?
Well, if the story is true, the story that was circulating, which is maybe just pure bad gossip, that one night she went out and to relax, she came back and by mistake she took a sleeping pill. Mm-hmm. And then the next morning she couldn't wake up or something like that. I don't think that Jackie with all due respect, I don't think she has any kind of charisma or personality to connect with the witnesses.
With witnesses or the jurors or both?
The witnesses. I didn't see the jurors. Your
Yeah.
mission in life is to check on the jurors. I don't know how they reacted, but she just didn't have. Her jokes would like be almost like a little insulting on the edges, and her serious comments were like not oozing with warmth towards the witnesses. They didn't have a rapport. She didn't have a rapport. He had a little better rapport.
She had a limp going on, like she just had like an
I-
amputation, like
yeah,
a
I
very
was
severe
also
limp, and
confused
the
there.
next day that limp was gone. So that was interesting. There's another super chat. I apologize because without the COE, I'm basically helpless here. But Bill Davis has a super
It
chat.
that should just teach you how much you should respect her.
Yeah.
How
I'm just curious if I'm ever going to get one comment that says that Carm interrupts me, or it'll always just be one-sided that I interrupt her. But Bill Davis here. What do you make of the fact, Carm, this is for you, that Donna threatened to dress the children up as in Nazi Hitler youth uniforms and send photos of them dressed that way to Dan, given the fact that they are Jewish themselves? Now, for those who do not know, Carm is a child Holocaust survivor.
oh,
Uh,
stop it.
yeah.
Stop
So,
it.
Carm, what I mean, what about that specific fact? And I could drag someone into this, and I won't. But go ahead, Carm.
Well, you know, that would be kind of a brilliant way to get even with Dan. But what makes it even crazy, I'm joking about the brilliant, a stupid way to get, but what makes it even worse that the first son, Rob, she literally almost ruined his life because he was going to marry a woman from India. And now it's just too absurd. It's like it gives Jews a bad name.
It does. Speaking of that, this is now almost an inside joke because there's a putz out there called Karma Fake Survivor. So this is the book. This is the most important thing that I've ever reported on in my life. This is the book I wrote about Karm. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Audible, anywhere you get books. Audible is hilarious because Karm reads it. I joke that it's a laugh out loud Holocaust. It's only laugh out loud because Karm's yelling at me, but she does give out amazing life advice. And the first 20% of the book is her story, which is really amazing
You know
and
what?
inspiring.
I
And I
never
put this up
said
just
it.
to annoy one person now every single time. And I hope it's working. Yes, Karm.
I never said it once, but I'm saying it for the record. I must say the cover page came as a surprise to me. Nobody asked me, nobody talked about it. I don't think the cover page is horrible, but it's a little bit like megalomania. You know, the two of us on the cover.
I don't think we ever really. I think the publisher just put the cover together, Karm. I
But
think that's
shouldn't he have just out of sheer politeness consulted?
yeah, but it
I'm
is what
not
it is.
trying. I mean, very
You look
friendly.
good, Karm. That's a great picture of you.
Yeah.
You look fantastic.
It's good. It's good because you don't see one single wrinkle on it.
Not one wrinkle. But anyway, it's on Audible, it's on Amazon, and I keep repeating that just to annoy one single person. That's the level of maturity.
Believe me, you annoy more than one single person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So how about this, Carm? It gets to the point where we're on the hot mic call, and Donna starts to talk about, she's had a good enough life, and that she's ready to be buried in her bar mitzvah dress, the bar mitzvah dress that she didn't go to because she was arrested. But she wanted to be buried in the bar mitzvah dress. When she got to that point of that call where she's talking about it and wanting to end her life, what did you make of that as a master's in social work?
I don't believe in what is it, unliving yourself? What is the expression?
Unaliving, yes. Yeah.
Unaliving yourself. I thank you. Joel says, Winkelspect.
What?
Somebody said they loved your book.
Oh, look at this. Carm only interrupts your. Carm, what was the sign you had in your office that you had for years?
Oh, stop talking while I'm interrupting.
No, I need to get you that sign back for yourself. Carm, there's a curious. This is why they're going to be bringing a digital forensics expert in. By the way, I'm always amazed that when it's just me and Carm, that there are more than Carm and I watching, but continues to be the case. So we thank you for that. We appreciate
it. Joel.
Like Carm, I would say that everyone here, by the way, asked me how my mother is, and then they yell at me that I don't treat her well. The number one person who yells at me, by the way, for not being as nice as I should to Carm is one of the Markells. I won't say which one. So I try to make the reason I'm being so incredibly sweet is to leave a good impression on one of the Markells who yells at me about that.
Now that I know that it's not love, it's just trying to impress a third party.
Now, listen, let me tell you something. Carm just turned 86 years old. She's honestly one of the sharpest minds. Look at this. Carm has, I didn't even see this comment from PG. But Carm has one of the sharpest minds. She will eviscerate a human being in under a nanosecond if they say something to her. And she had to grow up. Even though some people say she's fake, one person, and he's a jackass. But at 4.5 years old, she had to.
Wait a minute. He didn't say I was fake. He said my history was fake.
Yeah, it's just as bad. Same thing. Anyway, 4.5 years old, Carm was on her own, hiding, and then when reunited with her family, had to basically save the family at that age. My son is 6 years old, and it's hard to imagine. So, Carm, one of the interesting things, back to the relevant material here, the digital forensic expert on the state side basically says that there is like an hour and 8 minutes unaccounted for the night the murders are done. And that's the time period where Harvey and Donna are now headed to Charlie's, headed up to Tallahassee.
You want to know if they stopped at his house?
Yeah. What do you think happened in that hour and 8 minutes? What do you think?
Well, until proven that they went there, it means they didn't go there. But if I would speculate, I would say that how did the staple money get there? Maybe he had it at home and he never admitted it.
What do you think?
I don't know. Those things will never be proven. I listened to the testimony of this man, the expert, and they even admit that, the towers ping, but they don't ping that precisely. And you cannot go back and find out if in 2014, was there road construction? Was there a traffic accident? There are no records. Some things in life we will never know.
Carm, look at this. Alicia K. Mayo. Ms. Carm is a national treasure.
Listen, don't embarrass me, because I certainly don't get that treatment in the family.
By the way, when I was a kid, like when I would be around Rob's parents, I would call him Dr. Feldman or Mrs. Feldman. I bring my kids over to Tim Jansen. They're calling him Tim. I'm like, no, that's Mr. Tim, or Mr. Jansen to you. What's going on with kids these days, Carm? Let's digress for one moment. What's going on with children that they don't refer to people?
Brings them up.
Guess I'm not doing a very good job. Okay, let's keep going here. This is just a chill kind of Monday, keeping everyone's toes wet. Look at this, Shelly. I don't know if this is good or bad, but we love having you. I mean, for you, I don't know if this is good or bad. This is her first live. Typically not.
Don't worry. Not all lives are created equal. This is like a mini life.
By the way, Did I already mention this? I called Carm yesterday to check in, and I yell at my kids. I say, "Your grandmother's 86. She lost her husband, her husband, your grandfather. You need to call and check on her." And my daughter says every time the 11-year-old calls that grandma doesn't answer. But when we finally connected, Carm was being very mysterious, and she said, "I'm going to do something." I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "None of your business." And I said, "What do you?" And she would not tell us. Carm, what were you hiding yesterday? Were you on a date?
Every
Were you on
now
a
and
date?
then I like to create a little mystery of our own. You know, our lives are too open book. So I create a little mystery. The truth of the matter is that I didn't do anything that is illegal or even bad. I just felt that, you know, I don't have to tell you every one of my moves.
That's true. You have your life. It's funny. I was walking with Tim Jansen. We got invited to the FSU football game. And by the way, I take all the credit. It was my first game ever, and it was probably one of their biggest upset in recent years. They beat Alabama. Um, every 5 seconds with Tim Jansen, he has to stop to say hello to someone, and he whispers in my ear, and he's like, "That was an assault. That was a DUI." Like it's every one of them had to call Tim for something. So Tim knows everybody. Look at this, a new book, The Secret Life of Carm.
Yeah. The secret.
This is true. Carm is beautiful and smart.
I
Delightful.
always believed in marriage, without playing games. I believed a little unpredictability is not the worst thing that happens. Like, where were you? Oh, I was just out.
Yeah. Does anyone know if Wendy ever? This is a good question, and I don't know that I think the answer is yes. I don't know if Wendy ever went to the hospital to see Danny that night. There are 7 players in this conspiracy. I hope there is a 7-course meal of justice. I can say this. People close to the Markells are telling me that if there's not an indictment of Wendy, that they're not going to feel like justice was necessarily served. So, and I think that there's enough circumstantial evidence right now, and I think that they're probably going to have to go after her. But as Carm says, it's Georgia. How do you say her name, Mom? You don't say it the way I say it. Georgia. So Carm, here's another aspect that we have to. There's certain things. Believe it or not, I have a structure. I know it doesn't seem that way, but I have a bit of a structure.
Is she related to the Kardashians?
Who's that?
There was somebody here before. We are really inept. You cannot stop or go backwards if Ileana is not.
Yeah, without Ileana, I have no idea what's going on. But Carm, how about this? The Adelsons, who have a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, they're living in a building where Alex Rodriguez lives.
I would rephrase that. I would say they used to have a lot of money.
They used to have a lot of money.
Now the lawyers have a lot of money.
Yeah, the lawyers have a lot of money. But the point is, instead of buying a round-trip ticket, they are miserly, and they buy a one-way ticket to Vietnam via Dubai. And that's when she's famously arrested. And I think that that's going to be maybe the absolute nail in the coffin. Yes.
I tried the other day when we were talking with Professor. By the way, she's outstanding. I could see where she raised very good lawyers, but she was teaching us about this. What to expect from things and how things are going to work out.
Yeah, she's brilliant, by the way, Carm.
Yeah,
she's brilliant.
She
very
is.
Very sharp mind.
And I think I'm very happy that she agreed to do this for you, volunteer for this. But on a certain level, I think she enjoys it too.
I think she does. She enjoys it. She doesn't like when I call her a workhorse.
Starting her own channel. That was a faux pas, but I didn't jump down your throat because
is that like that's a negative connotation? Like in my book, that's like a compliment.
A person being called a horse.
A workhorse. It's like in football, you got like the workhorse, like the people who work really hard.
It's a very negative thing.
Yeah. I'll tell you how good STS Nation is. Someone reached out to me, and I'm going to take them up on it. They make like candles, I guess, and other types of interesting like goods. And she's willing to produce patron saint of STS candles with Joe Patuto's image on it, and I'm going to take her up on that, and we'll have. I figure
much better. Patron saint is much better.
Keith Morrison has a patron saint candle, which I have. So why not Joe Patuto? Look at this from President Gerard. I know that your mom is not a lawyer, but she has real wisdom and perception, and I really enjoy seeing her on the panel. Carm, would you consider going? Would you consider going back to law school at this age?
I tell you something. I try to learn something every day. I don't know if I would go back to law school because, as I confess to you and the world, I'm a little lazy. But law is very interesting. I told you when I went into my master's, I finished college in Switzerland, in the University of Geneva, and when I came to this country, I was sort of unfinished. I just got married at 22, and I had to make a decision if I'm going to go to graduate school to study psychology or to study law. And the reason I opted for social work is because this is for everybody, informational in this country. If you get a master's degree in psychology, you cannot do much with it. You need a PhD. So you have to get 2 degrees. And in social work with a master's degree, you have 2 years of actual practical fieldwork training. So you can work as a quote therapist under supervision. Then you pass accreditations. Then you take additional courses and so forth. But the reason I chose that and not law was because I was married to a psychiatrist and we had this fantasy of working together. And now in the next generation, Joel and Liliana were both correspondents, TV correspondents, and now they're working together. So that's what is it called? Synergy?
Synergy, full circle. From Gropo here, Carm. Carm, by the way, Carm with a K, but we'll forgive you, everyone. You can spell it any way you want, but it is with a K. She's named after Mount Carmel.
Because in Yugoslavia, it's phonetic spelling.
Look at this. Carm, bottom line. Has the prosecution made an ironclad case, and will Donna the Devil be convicted? If there is true justice in this sad case, the Markel boys will change their name back to Markel. They're asking for a bottom line answer. Carm's a bit of a politician. She never likes to give a definitive answer. She's paranoid. It's from her fake Holocaust days. Carm, your answer to this question.
Well, wait a minute. Who decides? They decide when they are over 18-year-old. I think they can decide.
No, but what about the jurors? They're asking about the prosecution. Has the prosecution made an ironclad case?
Yeah, if the prosecution finds Wendy guilty, so she doesn't have the authority. I'm talking about the next trial, and then, for one thing, the Markels can see their grandchildren because she cannot anymore keep them away from the grandchildren, which they did until very recently. They saw the children once or twice a year. And you know what? Those children will need long-term, very serious therapy if they're not going to be messed up.
Carm, do you think that they were that these children were brainwashed? I hear that word used a lot, and I just think of your husband, my father, who was a psychiatrist, and Dad might chuckle at the word brainwash. I mean, do you think that they? But I don't know. What do you think when you say long-term therapy? I'm curious.
No,
what
but
do you
let
think?
me tell you something.
What kind of therapy will they need?
The last 2 weeks that you. Can I just digress since this is our time today?
Yeah, but real quick, before you digress, Joel, mothers are allowed to interrupt their children, but children are not allowed to interrupt their parents. Go ahead.
That's when they're little.
Yeah.
But now what was I saying before?
You're going to digress. I already forgot what I was asking. Brainwashing the children. Can I digress? The
No.
therapy.
I wanted to tell you and the people what was I doing the last 2 weeks since you have been in Tallahassee. And my husband wrote a book, one book only, and he wrote it in 1971. And it was published, excuse me.
Have a sip of water, Carm.
I have water.
My dad wrote a book called Humanistic Psychiatry from Oppression to Choice that about 3
Anyway,
people bought.
When it came out in 1971, in all earnestness, I tried to read it. And I read through it, but I would say I understood probably 40%. And I was very open. I told him about it, that I didn't understand it. And later on, he reread the book and he told me he didn't understand the book completely. But
he wrote it. He wrote it.
So he had a sense of humor too. So during these 2 weeks, the book has only 156 pages, and I am at page 100. And I read it literally very carefully and very, very focused. And you would be surprised about brainwashing. Brainwashing is what reminded me. Are you listening?
I'm always listening, Carm.
I mean, the term brainwashing is not used, but when children educate their children, when parents educate their children in a certain way, they brainwash them. The term is never used in this book, but part of the education of raising children is, in a way, to influence them to see situations in the world the way you see it. So brainwashing is a kind of a loose term.
By the way, look at this. I figured out how to pull up the super chat, so we're going to go through them here. Mary Binney, love Carm. I watched your Adelson road trip video, and I forgot Donna went to Charlie's house the night before the Vietnam trip. Love from Edinburgh. Yeah, so I don't know. Carm, any thoughts on this? I guess she went to Charlie's. Yeah, I forgot about that too. She went to visit the night before she was arrested. Any thoughts on what she was doing there, Carm?
Where did she go?
She went to Charlie's house in Fort Lauderdale. I think she was probably trying to clean up some. Yeah, what do you think? What would be your guess?
They were selling his guns. I know, right?
Yeah, look at this. Thank you. Pleading out is a possibility. I missed all these. Thanks to everybody for these super chats. It's really nice of you. Sarah Stanton, super sticker here. Diet Picasso, Pablo Picasso on a diet. Isn't there too much reasonable doubt for Wendy? Carm, take that. What do you think? Lisa Cox, by the way, STS is the best. Too much reasonable doubt for Wendy. What do you think, Carm? You're not a lawyer, but what do you think?
I think that there is enough circumstantial evidence. She drove by the crime scene. I don't know, even as a child, I remember there was this expression that the criminal always goes back to the place of the crime. And she drove by there the same morning. And I saw something on Instagram, somebody who analyzed Wendy's testimony, this last on Donna's trial, and they showed when she was examined in the police station right after the murder, and her friend Sarah tells her that Charlie is not dead yet. The same afternoon, the morning he was shot in the head, and in the afternoon he was still alive. And when she hears that, she says something like it's a different ball game, or something like very strange, expression. that kind of makes people wonder if she was kind of shocked to hear that he's alive.
That's the impression I got. And when she calls, when Wendy makes the call to Donna from the interview room, that's a heads up that the job wasn't completed. I think of all the weird STS stories in the world, this might be the weirdest one. Tell Ethel. So we have a boxer, Ethel, and Erica here started emailing us and saying Ethel looks just like her dog. Well, lo and behold, Ethel were begotten from the same place in Homestead, Florida, on the same day from the same litter, and they look identical. And so Louis and Ethel are brother and sister. Carm, is that a miracle? Is that a miracle?
It's a coincidence.
Would you want to meet Louis, and would you let Lou give you
No,
a
but
big
I
look
want to
face?
know something about Louis. Do you know what? If he also has an oversized tongue that he cannot keep in his mouth.
Erica, does Louis? I think he does. I've seen it. Annalee Finch is a very sweet woman from the Virginia area. She gave us a super sticker. Some of these I read, so I'm just getting down. Look at this, Carm. Look at this. $100 from JKC. This one's for Joel. Great job, Joel.
Oh,
Not for Carm,
finally
but for Joel.
somebody noticed you.
Yeah. Speaking of hot mic, thank you so much, JKC. That was incredibly generous. I appreciate it. Joel, speaking of the hot mic calls, Donna's the world's first criminal to bug their Carm, would you have done that? You know, what he's talking about is that she stayed on the call that was recorded after she thought it hung up, but it didn't hung up. But you're too paranoid. I don't think you would have talked without triple checking. Am I right?
You know, it happens to me a lot that I talk after people hang up. I don't believe that they hung up already.
Yeah, what Carm does, she has her phone. She keeps her phone on a what is that called? Like she has like it's like a purse. She has like a what
It's
is
like
it?
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
attached to this thing.
So Carm
My phone is on a leash.
Carm FaceTimes you while her phone is on a leash upside down. So you're seeing the world upside down. And then she never says goodbye. And you talk and you realize that she hasn't hung up. And then you start hearing her talk again. So it definitely would have happened to Carm. Let me run through these real quick because these people paid for super chats. Chris B, thank you so much. Peace Seeker's a new member. Kim Fine here. Is Donna's testimony for bail is an evidence? I'm not sure, Kim, if I completely understand. Are you saying that her
that she
testimony?
wanted to go on bail because she had she was not comfortable in jail.
Oh, okay. This one we got to. Then there's, I think, just thank you both. You're so cute. And look at this from Boston, Sarah, absolute sweetheart. Thank you for spending the day with us. And now I just lost my comments here. Okay, I'm back.
Joel, you
Back
know
live.
Joel,
Yeah, Carm. Yes, Carm. Yes,
too
dear
much
mother.
of a good thing is too much. Now
We're gonna wrap it up. Carm, there's a couple interesting things here. Wendy Adelson writes a text or a note to her mother, and she says, "I'm not responsible in any way for Charlie's situation. I was not involved in any way in Danny's death." Almost as though an attorney of hers is telling her what to write. I mean, you've got to give her credit, but there's a WhatsApp message from, and I don't have it in front of me, but Donna, listen to me here, Carm, from Donna to Wendy, where she basically says, Charlie protected you, implying that he's going to prison and he covered for you. That's how I read it. And that your lawyers, I think she used the word covered for you, protected you. To me, and I showed that to John Singer, who scratched his head and said that could be problematic. But it was this note that I just read that Singer said could also be problematic because she's saying I'm not responsible in any way for Charlie's situation. So bottom line, and you can't wiggle your way out of this, did Wendy know what was going on during this entire time? Yes or no?
I think she had to know. I mean, it was her life, her ex-husband, the father of her children. And you know what? Donna should have, and I never ever say this, followed up on her suggestion of wearing the bar mitzvah dress and unalive herself, because what she did to her grandchildren is unforgivable. To hire somebody to kill their father, and then she loves them so much. Listen, I'm not going to play the violins and make a tragedy, but I grew up without a father from the age of 4.5. And every day almost I think about how much I miss him, and how sometimes I have this fantasy, how would have my life turned out differently if he would have been alive. Even though I had a wonderful stepfather who also lost the son and the wife in Auschwitz, and who was just very good to me and very smart and everything, but I did not have a father. I had a stepfather. And I think that killing the father of your children, in my book, is unforgivable. Killing somebody else who is unrelated would have been unforgivable, but this is unbelievable. This is to me unforgivable.
You know what? I think that's a mic drop moment. I don't think we can get any better than that from Carm, and I agree, completely unforgivable. Listen, I know Carm and I bicker, and people yell at me for cutting her off, but I would not be able to. I still don't know that I'll be able to exist once Carm is not here.
Don't say that. That's also annoying to repeat that.
And it's all right here.
Do what
I'm
you
doing
have
it
to
again.
do.
It's all right there in the book I wrote about
Well,
Carm. The
stop.
only book,
I'm not going to come on anymore if you use it as a propaganda.
the only book that has ever been signed by a non-author. Carm, by the way, did I tell you we are booked, locked in, and invited to the Miami Book Fair, which I believe is the second biggest book fair in the entire country, where it's end of November. Do not go anywhere in November, because November is when we're doing it.
I have to tell you a cute story. I don't know if you guys ever heard what happened between Joel and Album. What's his first name? Mitch Album.
Mitch
who
Albom.
wrote, who 30 years ago wrote Tuesdays with Morrie, and who became very well known, and he's been writing ever since. So we went to the Miami book fair. No, Joel said we are going to the Miami book fair, and Ileana, Joel, and I went, and he literally ambushed Mitchum to
Mitch
tell
Albom.
him what Mitch Albom. Sorry, Mitch Albom. To
But
tell
I like
him
Mitchum.
what
That's a common. Mitchum is a combination. I like that. Mitchum. It's a good combination. No, the whole story is it's when I finished the book and I wanted him to write a blurb for this book, and we had no way to meet him. And then I found out he was going to the Miami Book Fair, and I said that we're going to talk to him, but he had security and he went behind a little area. And then I told
with the black curtain.
with black curtain, and I told the Miami-Dade police officer, because his book was about a Holocaust survivor, and I told him that my mother's a Holocaust survivor. Next thing you know, Mitch Albom's flirting with my mother, and they're backstage talking the whole time. And he ended up writing a blurb, right, Carm?
Yes, he wrote a book. There is a blurb. That's how that blurb happened, and that's when we were at the Miami Book Fair. And then last year, they signed us up to present, and they literally had an oversight and forgot about us.
Carm, look at this. 2 final comments. You reared a real kind gentleman. Be proud of him. And then this was perhaps my favorite. Joel has hustle and chutzpah. That's a good thing.
Wait a second. Let me get straight. One says that you are a kind gentleman, and the other one says you are a hustler. And you know what? Both are true.
Yeah. I'm starting to tear up a little bit, not to get sappy, but Carm really is, people idolize these athletes and like the Taylor Swifts of the world.
All right,
but Carm
you don't have to sell me.
Carm is a true she's a true American hero. And
American hero,
sometimes I look at this cover and I can't believe that I actually wrote this book, but it happened. And now we're working on one about my father, which we'll get out there.
That's why I'm reading his book, and I'm so happy that during the 60 odd years of 63 years of being with my husband, I picked up some of the ideas from the book, and when I'm reading it now, and I'm reading it for the book about Roy, that I'm very happy that I'm understanding more than when I read it in 1971 when it first came out.
I just look at this. Chow says Carm with the heart emojis. And COE, if you're listening, Rachel G just gave me the greatest idea. We should have a shirt that says Taylor's Swifty is Carm. Taylor's, in other words,
no.
Love you, America.
I like this patron saint for Joe.
Love you, Miami Beach. Carm, when do the snowbirds come back to your building? When do they reoccupy their dwellings there in Miami Beach?
Before Thanksgiving, a little before Thanksgiving. Some come for different holidays. Now it's nicely deserted.
Nicely deserted. All right, everybody. Love you, America. Love you, Miami Beach. Love you, Tallahassee. And of course, it is about
I thank you all
justice.
for your very nice words and your feelings. And you know what? I had nothing planned for this afternoon, and I wouldn't have wanted to do anything more. I take after Joel. I like to be on.
Carm, I've given you real purpose and meaning in life. We should both go to law school. Love you, everybody. Justice for Dan Markel. Love you all.